On. This thing is
Oh
on.
shit! It's on. It's on.
You knew we were recording.
Live.
Stop lying,
dude. Shut the fuck up. Kick this kid off the podcast. We're not doing this anymore.
Tastes like watermelon.
Suplex Biddies were back after a week hiatus. Scheduling conflicts. It happens. Life happens. But we're here from now on. Monday nights is Suplex Biddy night.
Right.
I don't know what Hunman's doing. Looks like he's trying to be CM Punk for Halloween. Halloween's over, bud. Figure it out.
Jesus.
We're back.
All right, don't come to my next party, dickhead.
Diego's in the house. Dude,
What
I
up,
got the
baby?
ugly sweater. I got the ugly sweater ready for the ugly sweater party. Stop.
I'm talking to my sister about that now, actually.
Hunman's here as well. I'm here. We're back. Brief hiatus again, but we're back here. Brought to you by our good personal friends at Couch Guy Sports. Also, for our listeners, our viewers on YouTube, our fan around the world, worldwide. Boy, do we have something to give you? So, guys, I know it was a long weekend, Halloween weekend. You guys walking to work today feel unable to focus, tired, just kind of low on energy?
Honestly, I was fucking miserable today.
Diego, you good? What are you, Sandman? Trying to break Nintendo's? Jesus. So,
I'm working on my Goldberg impersonation.
All right.
Every time he steps in the ring, it's like shingles.
Oh, Jesus. So we understand the feeling of being tired and low on energy. We understand it so well that Suplex Biddies is brought to you not only by the Couch Guy Sports Network, but it's also sponsored by our friends over at Shock Energy. Shock Energy is a drink made by gamers for gamers, as all their flavors come packed with 180 milligrams of caffeine to ensure that no matter what you're doing, your focus will always be razor sharp to keep you performing at the top of your game. Their formulas are designed to specifically, Jesus Christ, Chris, reads Monday, give you a high energy boost when you need it the most while ensuring to avoid jitters after too much caffeine consumption. So do yourself a favor. Head over to www.shockenergy.com. Use the promo code CGSN. That's CGSN for Couch Guy Sports Network. Get it? CGSN. Today, for 10% off your order, check out their green apple flavored box, their watermelon flavored box. Oh, and don't worry, because guess what? To our fan worldwide, they ship worldwide, like Prestige worldwide in this bitch. That's right, worldwide. Get your Shock Energy today and let us help you gain your focus and energy back. Bow!
I'm not gonna say that Shocked Energy is like a good luck charm or anything like that, but when I had a nice little packet of the watermelon, I did happen to double my money at the sports book with the focus I was able to attain from it. So I don't know. Try your luck.
What a waste to use your melon. Watermelon.
And it made me use the melon. He gets it.
Hunman hit on probably one of the most outrageous bets I've ever seen in my entire life.
I did. Why? I should be on the freaking Chasers podcast at this point. Only for basketball. Only for basketball.
Oh, yeah. No, we know 100%. That's a good plug right there.
Hashtag self-invite.
Yeah.
Diego, do you want to hear the stupid bet that I hit on real quick?
Well, what I want to know, so I want to know your bet, but I also want to know what kind of odds there are between the beginning of the episode towards the end of the episode where we would see Jones pop that species growing out of his forehead.
We're not fucking doing this.
It's because he had the bunny ears on for the party. It made the skin do the thing. Pop it.
All right. The hood's on the rest of the episode.
So it sounds like we're looking for a sponsorship from Proactive as well. Okay,
Jones,
got it.
You know what having a big zit like that says? Youth. So that's good. You're still young. Yeah. Flaunt it. But Diego, so real quick, the bet was that Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball both had to get 8 assists or more in the game. I bet $5 and won 130.
Oh my God.
And when Brandon Ingram, Hunter went to go take a poo. Let's put this on the record.
I did.
Hunter went to go take a poo. Brandon Ingram had 2 assists left to get, and he got both of them. And Hunter didn't know because he wasn't paying attention. And he came back and they go, "Oh, congratulations!" Go, what? It hit?
That fucking
hit?
hit?
No, it fucking hit, baby.
Wow.
Come on, let's go. Let's rock.
Ingram got the 8th assist and then literally got taken out of the game 10 seconds later.
Wow.
Yeah, that's never happening again. It was cool.
All right, so why don't we focus on wrestling now? Let's
Yeah, what's this about wrestling? Is that what it is?
Yeah, we talk wrestling. We talk podcasts. You know, we're a podcast that talks
Talk
about
the
wrestling.
graps.
Yeah, you know, Hunter and I were at the gym, and some guy was asking if we wanted some help on some podcasts. So I go, well, guess what? We fucking do podcasts. We know what we're doing, baby. I do fucking too many. My head hurts.
I do one. It's too many.
All right, so let's start off. We didn't get to talk about this last week because we didn't have a show, but NXT did Halloween Havoc. My God, can I just say that for something that wasn't very hyped up, this was. I think they did a pretty good job with this.
Yeah.
So real quick, let's go over the matches. So we had the Scareway to Hell ladder match. It was a triple threat tag team match with the NXT Women's Championship. Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan and Jace Jane defeated Io Shirai and Zoe Stark and Indy Hartwell and Persia Pirotta to become the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. And then we had Joey Gacy defeat Malik Blade. We had Roderick Strong defeat Odyssey Jones. We had a Chucky's Choice trick or street fight match for the NXT Women's title match with Mandy Rose pinning Raquel Gonzalez thanks to Scream, a.k.a. Dakota Kai.
Yep.
We had Imperium of Fabian Archer and Marcel Barthel defeat MSK in a Lumberjack-O-Lantern tag team match for the NXT title to win the NXT tag team titles. And Tommaso Ciampa retain over Braun Breaker to remain the NXT champion.
Still the biggest surprise of the entire card. Like of all the titles I thought were gonna switch hands, pretty sure that was gonna be a shared thing.
Let's do this. Why don't we dive into what our thoughts were on this? By the way, just so everybody knows, it wasn't a big really pay. It was like a very good television event. It was a pay-per-view worthy. So no match went over 15 minutes, just for the record. So what do we think of the 6 matches on the Halloween Havoc card from this past the day that ends with Tuesday?
It was just Tuesday. Yeah, it was just Tuesday. It was like almost a week
ago. It was just a Tuesday. Yep.
No, I mean the whole card itself, like you said, top to bottom was great. The action made sense. That they told some solid stories. Gimmick heavy, obviously, with all the different names, and it's just basic stipulations that they spice up with more words. I actually enjoyed the women's title match the most. As much as Mandy Rose still, occasionally she still messes up, but she and Raquel had seemed to have a really, really good match, some solid chemistry, and it's nice to see Toxic Attraction have all the gold. It's like almost freaking like Evolution at this point, when they just have all of the gold. So we'll see what happens from there. I'm still, like I said, I'm just surprised that Braun Breaker did not take the title. It was a good way to establish him as just like a real main event player. And obviously Tommaso Ciampa is like one of your big names. You're going to keep him. You're going to use him as your headline guy. It's a well-known name. People know him. And I think Breaker's going to end up getting it back. He'll win it before WrestleMania or WrestleMania weekend at this point. So we'll see from there. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that pay-per-view on or television special, I should say?
No, you guys can go. I don't want to talk about everything.
Diego? Well, give me some takeaways you had from it.
Yeah, so some of the takeaways that I had, I agreed that, seeing Braun Breaker not be able to win that match was surprising. However, I think it's actually in a good way surprising because seeing the transition from Samoa Joe to Tommaso Ciampa, it kind of has given NXT some sort of character. It reminds me a lot of when, back in the day when Triple H was kind of the face of WWE for a while before transitioning to seeing more of Randy Orton, Batista, Seth Rollins, and some of these guys. It gives them some sort of footing. And that's definitely what's happening here for NXT. I definitely agree that the women's tag titles was a great match to watch. Aside of that, I actually low-key think this should have been a pay-per-view because it was very gimmick-driven, very character-driven. A lot of these superstars delivered some of their special moves. Like you saw Breaker break out the Frankensteiner. Ciampa hit out the 3-knee strike, I think it's what he calls it. So, you saw a lot of special moves happening. So I think that would have been pay-per-view worthy, but it still delivered the results that they needed to deliver, good viewing rates and all that stuff. So overall, a good week for NXT there.
Shout out to Ciampa for that Kratos cosplay type attire that he had from God of
Mhm.
War. That was
sick.
dope.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
Mhm.
Pretty
Yeah.
dope.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I think personally, NXT for what they're doing right now and trying to get these new stars, new faces of the company that they want to build up. I think they're doing a pretty good job at it. The three of us, I should say. I was going to say you and I, but there's two other people here. The three of us, I think, all agreed we were kind of skeptical about the whole scenario because we didn't know what they were going to do. But so far, in the short time frame that they've done it, I think they've done a pretty good job. Obviously, you would think a guy like Braun Breaker would be their world champion right now. They're putting some hype around him. Looks good. But I think the character development of getting him up into, like where Hunman said, probably Mania weekend esque and let Ciampa go on a little run, I think can help create some more buzz for the brand. And then once Braun Breaker actually wins the title, then Ciampa can do what he needs to do, and Braun Breaker can focus on what he has to do to take that next step to be the face of NXT in a sense. I think for me, Mandy Rose finally getting a title run in a sense, I think was very beneficial, not only to her, but to her entire group, because now they're all champions of the women's division. NXT Women's Champion, and then NXT Women's Tag Team Champion as well. So I think for Toxic Attraction, that's a great way to go there. And I'm really curious what they're going to do with Joey Gacy, because he's looked fantastic so far since he's been now a big shine on this NXT roster. So for me, I'm curious to see what they're going to do next with NXT. And I'm kind of curious going forward to see if Ciampa's defending against someone else before facing against Braun Breaker again. Okay, so real quick.
They also had the Uso Brother debut.
Oh, yes.
Brother or younger brother? Younger brother?
Brother.
Yes.
That
dude's got a look.
Oh, goodness. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
Not Sefa Fatu. It's
nope.
His ring name. He's an Uso. I mean, they have the tattoo, the Samoan, everything.
Oh.
Yep. Oh, fuck.
I know. We all had a very long weekend. I'm going to find it.
It is Solo Sequoia. That's it.
Yes.
Solo Sequoia. Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
So he's now in there, and you're gonna have a nice beastly Samoan lad running his way through NXT now too. So
yep. So they get some hype around this little brand. Now, one thing we need to talk about.
Wait a second. Isn't Solo Sequoia brothers with the Usos instead of cousins?
Yes.
Because
it's younger brother.
I was gonna say I thought it was a three.
Rikishi's third son.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
No one knew Rikishi had a third son until the other day. So Hanuman, you and I have discussed this off air previously, and now it's coming to light. We're gonna get Walter versus Cesaro on a UK tour. Oof. Where can I find it? Where can I watch? Where do I pay for it? Because, yikes!
I tweeted that so fast when I saw it, man. Like, holy crap! That's what a dream match.
That's gonna be outrageous. I can't wait for that.
I don't think Walter's been back on TV since he lost the title, so it's almost like a reintroduction for him as well. Because Ilya Dragunov kind of decapitated him with his sleeper hold, so he's still recovering because it was bad.
He can't talk.
Yeah,
his larynx doesn't work.
He might have died a little bit.
Who knows? Now, I'm going to go completely off topic here because I was looking at the pay-per-views because we're going to be talking about the debut of the new look Raw, how Smackdown looks so far with the new roster. And so people were wondering why TLC got canceled. Right?
Yeah.
I just put two and two together. So they had a scheduling conflict with it. So they canceled TLC because they're bringing back a New Year's theme pay-per-view for the first time since New Year's Revolution 2007. Mm-hmm. So on January 1st, 2022, live at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, WWE presents WWE Day One.
Yep. Sounds real Roman Reignsy, if you ask me. Sounds real Samoan. Day one-ish, you know?
Yep. So literally it goes Survivor Series a whole month, WWE day one in the beginning of January, Royal Rumble at the end of January. Quick thoughts on that.
I'm surprised they still got rid of TLC because it seems like the jump is just going to be from Survivor Series right to day one. So it's a big gap. And it's kind of right in the middle of the build to the Rumble. So I'm interested in seeing how they do it. So it just seems like I hope they don't just interrupt what feels like almost the natural flow, because TLC is usually the first or second weekend of December. And then the Royal Rumble is like 6 to 7 weeks later. So they have a huge time to build up everybody. So get your favorites out there.
Here was the issue. So the original plan for TLC was December 19th.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally 2 weeks between TLC and day one. So they were worried about the time slot and thinking of where Survivor Series is. They're worried about the time slot. They moved TLC up. So they just canceled it outright. And I mean, we'll just have to wait and see what the flow looks like for that.
I like it though, because they used to, before COVID and everything, they were jam-packing pay-per-views in. Almost seemingly like almost every 2 to 3 weeks for a time, and it was rough to keep up with it all. And it suffered very badly because of it, because you keep trying to build all these meaningful feuds in like a 2 to 3 week span. It's not great. Survivor Series also though in Boston. So if you're a local and you hang out in the Boston area, we'll see you there.
Oh, not me.
Oh, I'm going. Absolutely.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
You right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Just start on me a little bit.
You fall out of the chair?
A little bit. So let's talk about Monday Night Raw from this past week. We have a new number one contender. Not who any of us expected it to be. So there was a fatal four-way ladder match for number one contenders for the title. It was between Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, and Finn Balor. Seth Rollins ended up winning. So now Seth Rollins is getting the next shot at Big E. What are our thoughts here on this?
It's going to be a great feud to get Big E established on Monday nights. Rollins has easily been, I don't want to say underutilized, because he's been in prolific things on SmackDown for the last year, but he never got his one-on-one match because he's been there since Roman became champion. You know, they had a couple times they teased it. Rollins even alluded to it on Raw, saying, you know, that his old buddy was too scared to give him a shot. So it makes sense to put him right back in the main event, where he clearly has earned it outside. I mean, he lost technically to Edge in Hell in a Cell and everything, though he's put on a phenomenal performance. We saw how Edge looked at him at the end of the match with almost like a respect type of thing. And like, holy shit, that guy just pushed me to my limit. He might be, you know, respect. It's literally just respect. So it's cool to see him out there. I think we all think he's not going to win, because the money match is Big E versus Roman at Survivor Series. There is a small part of me that's scared they'll be like, oh well, Seth Rollins versus Roman will be really cool. So I don't want to think about that. But he's been great. He deserves it. So he's gonna get a nice little paycheck, nice little main event spot, and remind us why he's one of the top guys in the company.
Diego?
Yeah, I mean, Honeyman nailed it. I don't know if I can that much from there. Like I agree with him. I agree with him. I mean, it is such a WWE thing to do as well, to just kind of tease that up and kind of potentially bring in that, you know, upside down turn that nobody expects, but people really expect in life. So that is something that's a concern to me. It's actually more of a bigger concern, because they kind of have been hyping up a big match between, you know, the two parties aforementioned. And at this point, to bring in a third one is kind of like, what are we really doing here? I get it. It's a respectful side of things. It's to kind of remind people that, you know, he's still there and that he's a big part of the entertainment group. But overall, it's just one of those things that's like, could have used it in a completely different setting rather than these two, because you've been hyping it up for so long. But other than that, I don't really got much to say on the matter, to be honest with you.
I get worried. I was going to say, John, I meant to say this before I wrapped up my point. I apologize. That's 3 interruptions, probably.
Have you kept track?
the few times like Survivor Series leading up to it, like when they had Lesnar was gonna versus Jinder, and then they're like, holy shit, this would suck. So they gave the title to AJ Styles. Then again, AJ Styles was gonna versus Lesnar again, and they're like, oh, we don't want to run this back, so you got Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. And those ended up being two obviously fantastic matches. It's a little different, obviously, with Roman, but I still think Big E's your money match. So I hope they don't do like a weird, like I said, I hope they just don't do that weird panic thing, even though because recent history doesn't help our champions here. And I think if anyone was to lose it going into that match, you think it's probably going to be Big E. So
Yeah.
I agree, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, I like the Seth Rollins. You got to give him a little bit of credit too. In a 4-day stretch, he literally did Hell in a Cell and a ladder match,
and flew to Saudi Arabia and back.
So like he desperately needed a win here. And I think a big win to put him back on the map a little bit. Like you said, he's been a little bit underutilized, but he's been killing it in what he's been doing. So I think this works. It all depends on how you book it. If you're booking this on a Raw in a couple weeks, you got to just make it to Jesus thought. You're gonna make it to the level of a pay-per-view style-esque match, but have Big E come out on top.
Yeah.
Whether it's chicanery or not, you got to have Big E versus Roman at Survivor Series. Then you can figure everything else out after. So, I'm just curious to wait and see what happens with it.
Yep.
Yep.
Agreed.
Any other thoughts from Monday Night Raw? I mean, Bianca is facing Becky for the title tonight.
Yep.
Dude,
that match with her and Charlotte was great. And of course, they fucked it up with the finish, and they did the stupid
Always.
DQ. It was like, dude,
Always.
the way they timed it was just so piss poor. Like it was like 10:58, and then Charlotte just grabs a chair and hits her in the gut with it. And all you get is Belair going fuck, and then hitting her with the chair once, and then Raw goes off the air. Like, what the hell? After you give them 30 minutes to do that shit, that was a disappointment. So tonight we'll see how it goes. You have to imagine it's not gonna actually be a full match to start the show. Something will happen, and they'll do it again later on in the night, or they'll add a third person, whatever. So we'll see how it plays out. But I really kind of want Bianca to get that title back. She's so freaking over, dude. She's earned it. The fans want her to be champion. It will be nice to put her back where she belongs and just kind of put the SummerSlam stupidity behind us.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%. Going on the SmackDown side of things, I mean, I think SmackDown, again, they won the draft, and now they got the King of the Ring and Xavier Woods, which I think is even better now because he has it. Just thoughts on that. I mean, Brock Lesnar's they're doing the classic thing they do with Brock Lesnar. He destroys the shit out of everybody, gets fined, this, that, and that. It's like
suspended, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They kind of turned Adam Pearce heel because he fined him another $1 million. But they also threw New Day back into a feud with the Usos.
Yep.
So it's like I was like, I'm indifferent on that as well. I feel like Woods should be going for like maybe the US title after winning that rather than the tag team titles. Because there's plenty of other tag teams, especially that you just got in the draft that you could, go to.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I also think SmackDown had a great segment this past week. And in all honesty, I think they really put Shotzi Blackheart on the map here a little bit.
They did
with that open challenge against Charlotte Flair.
And they kind of needed to as well, though, if you think about it, because I mean, at your point, I have a certain stance on certain somebody in that division. So
we know. Yep, we know. But I just think personally, if you look at it, I think that was probably the best thing that they could do moving forward. Is again, you say time and time again that you're sick and tired of seeing the same women fighting for the same title. Now you get Shotzi, who came out and gave basically everything she had and was toe to toe with Charlotte Flair, who might go down as the best women's wrestler in the history of the business. So that's a way to create a star right there. And Shotzi Blackheart looks great. I'm hoping that she does more for Friday nights, and we'll see what happens from there. Other than that, I mean, the thing is, SmackDown's so good they don't even need Roman to be on TV every week, and they still do solid numbers.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people were disappointed because they were tagging this whole week as like the new era of each show and everything like that. And your first episode of SmackDown, Roman wasn't on the show. It's like, okay, so the new era doesn't have the most important guy in the company. A little weird. But they did make Shotzi a freaking star, I think. I thought that whole segment was wonderful. I don't think she's necessarily. I mean, based on her reaction, you can say she'd probably be better off as like a face and not a heel, because your top champion's already a heel. I guess Sasha's now a face again based on that, and to have someone with
nobody
Charlotte
knows
to
what
feud
Sasha is
with,
anymore.
she's just whatever they need, which is fine. But Shotzi, hopefully, gets that chance to keep going with this, because she did really well, man. Like, she took that ball and ran with it. She killed that opportunity.
Agreed. But I'm just curious. I'm curious to see what both shows have coming for them, because I think that was the best segment of the whole show, and that was at the very beginning. Don't get me wrong. Anytime I get New Day versus the Usos, I'm always tuning in, because their chemistry together in and out of the ring is just unparalleled to anybody. Mm-hmm. So I'll take that 10 times out of 10.
And the thing Halloween Havoc, or whatever the Havoc night was for NXT, was great with all the gimmick stuff. The thing on SmackDown, when they did like the trick or treat street fight, kind of sucked. I don't know if you guys saw the clips for it, but it just kind of like,
it wasn't wasn't ideal for something that you wanted to follow up with.
No, so I was confused, because I saw some highlights, and now I'm blanking because everything blends together at this point. They versed Carrillo and Garza, or did they verse Corbin and Moss?
Corbin and Moss.
I thought it was Corbin and Moss,
because the other two were involved in that somehow, and I remember reading that, and I don't quite know how they were.
It was Corbin. They fought Corbin and Moss.
Yeah, were the other two involved in some capacity?
I thought they were a tag team at one point.
Yeah, they're supposed to be part of it.
Let me go refresh my brain here. Give me a second. While we look at that,
one thing I would like to add about this whole entire roster change and all that stuff is we can definitely see a bigger issue developing in SmackDown. We already know, and we already have confirmed rumors by multiple sources, of Charlotte Flair being an absolute outcast when it comes to the locker room atmosphere at SmackDown. Overall, WWE women division are just done with her. At this point, you definitely kind of need a new rising kind of phoenix in the ashes happening here, because Naomi has been utilized over and over and over. Kind of gets old very fast. Sasha Banks, don't know what to do with that yet. Is it a face? Is it a heel? Is it a character development? Is it a new storyline? What really is there? It's just too many questions to be answered at this point right now, where you kind of can see this transition probably in the next 4 to 5 weeks, especially with rumors of her wanting to get out of WWE as well. It seems like it's mutual that they want to part ways with her, because again, just the atmosphere that she's setting in the locker room is just not what you need at this point.
It's not good. I mean, to her credit, she did do well to help Shotzi, I think, which was nice.
She did, of course.
She could have snuffed her a lot.
When it comes to in-ring performance, that's wonderful and all, because you have to deliver a product, right? But when it comes to completely off air, to the point that people are already, reporting that there have been blows and whatnot happen in the locker room, this is the last thing you need, especially when you literally just had a shakeup in the roster happening as well.
Yep. Okay.
So to go back on the Garza and Carrillo, so Boogs was setting up his big move. 2 costume ghouls came out and hit Boogs with the candlesticks. Moss pins Boogs. The 2 ghouls reveal themselves. It's Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza.
Okay, so they did interject themselves in it.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
That is why.
Yeah, it was like a collab kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Tag team collab, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So, SmackDown, again, I hope that they use some of their other women, and even Raw, if they use some time to use one of the veterans to establish another female that just got brought up. Even Gonzalez was working dark matches, I guess, recently too, so she might be on the way up. There's a lot of options, and I'm excited, obviously, but also you got to be reserved, because you never know how
the last thing I'll touch upon SmackDown before we move into our final topic of the evening. What did we think about Shayna Baszler kind of getting Sonya Deville to be like her new mouthpiece in a sense?
She kind of needs it.
Yeah.
She kind of needs it, because Shayna Baszler is horrible on the mic. She's a great in-ring performer, but she's horrible on the mic. She's basically needed the development that Roman Reigns needed before he was Roman Reigns himself. You know, like when you had the Shield, and you had Dean Ambrose be good with the pipe bombs as well as Seth Rollins be good on the mic. Roman, on the other hand, was just like, good God, just shut off his mic. It's the same exact thing that's happening with Baszler, while Sonya Deville is just real good at trash talking, and that's exactly what you kind of need at this point.
Yep.
All right. Final topic. Hunterman, this was your topic that you recommended in the group chat earlier.
It's AEW. It's up my alley. You know how it goes.
Okay.
Their Dynamite episode was also quite good. It was in Boston, and I didn't go, and I'm very mad because John Silver.
You didn't get to see. You get to see Hangman dressed as a
whatever the big marshmallow guy from Ghostbusters was. I couldn't remember either.
Oh God!
But
back on topic.
That match was great though. So they did a 4-on-4, the Elite or the Super Elite versus Dark Order. That was a great match. Hangman still getting his big old receptions, and leading into John Moxley apparently had a book get released this past week that was a memoir of sorts. I'm sure there'll be a few more that come out in coming days and years, not days but years. And he just had, I think you could all imagine if he had an open floor to talk about his final days and months in WWE, we could all come up with a realistic assumption as to how that kind of went. So I figured we wanted to bring light to it because it's been getting a lot of news on, the internet, and the internet wrestling community is all about it because he basically just trashed Kevin Dunn as just a uber piece of shit. Because he's, if you're not aware of him, he's the guy that does all the camera work and production for WWE. Like, he's the head of everything. He's been the head of everything forever. He does a great job with most of it, and there's occasionally stuff that he just astronomically screws up on, like certain camera cuts and things like that. But Moxley went out of his way to talk about how he was someone that would just like go out of his way to bury your ass if he didn't like you for whatever reason, which is so weird for a producer to have that much type of a pull. The dude's not even like, yeah, you keep the lights on literally, but you're not keeping the lights on figuratively. Like, you're not out there performing. So screw that guy. It just kind of confirms what everyone thinks about him. He kind of sucks.
Trash.
He's Vince's guy. It's nothing he can do. Another thing that he talked about was he hates ladder matches. Says they've taken years off his career. Just seeing the bumps that like Kevin Owens was taking on Monday, you can't do that every week. Yeah, it's fake. It's predetermined outcome. You can't fake falling 20 feet onto a fucking ladder. It's like, it's gonna hurt, and you're gonna fuck up your hip or whatever the hell.
Doesn't matter how many times you practice it either. A mistake happens at any given moment.
Why would you want to? You saw the one that the spill that Io Shirai took. She was supposed to land onto the ladder, but almost got her leg caught and almost fucking could have snapped it. Like, it could have been.
I mean, shit. Just look at a previous history too, when Sasha Banks faced off against Paige. When she just did the kick in the back, that was a premeditated move, but it still affected Paige's back to the point that she had to retire.
Think back to Joey Mercury back in like 2006. Them versus the Hardys. Literally, he did a leg drop that was supposed to cover their face and sell it, shattered his nose, and the dude bled for literally like 3 days. So, it's just all these things we know, and we get more confirmation. It's cool hearing the stories. And the biggest thing that no one is quite surprised about, it's him talking about how Vince McMahon seemingly is just kind of like losing it and getting older and everything like that, which is, we've all kind of seen it. He seems like he's out of touch, things like that. He still works like a fucking animal. Like, the dude does like 20-hour days. Like, it's amazing that he can keep that up in his 70s now with all he's put his body through. So at some point, you'll see what happens. He had a nice little thing in there about when Brody Lee passed away. A nice shout out to him. We know they had a very great title match during Moxley's title reign. And I don't know. It was kind of like a tell-all. And it's interesting to see how the different perceptions are. Like, Daniel Bryan hasn't necessarily said anything negative in regards to like Vince McMahon. Since he's left, he's been very complimentary of the entire WWE.
Yeah.
So,
well, Moxley's like, he's losing his fucking mind.
Yeah. So you wonder, is like, how there's such a disconnect, it seems, through certain stars. So, I mean, did any of the stuff that he kind of talked about surprise you? Would you want to read more? Do you think, like, I don't know, you think Kevin Dunn should fucking get lost?
I mean, when I think of a book release from a wrestler, it's one of those things that's just such a oxymoron kind of far-fetched thing to see.
Mhm.
You know, it's more of like you expect it to be an HBO documentary, an ESPN documentary, maybe even a podcast documentary, right?
Yep.
So in this instance, to see all this much context written all into one book, that just tells you like the numerous stories that have yet to be told in WWE. I think in addition to that, it would have helped Ambrose, Moxley, however you want to call them, just really have more of a Netflix documentary, something that people can actually access to, because it's given the fact that he clearly wants people to be aware of what really transpires when some of these people really leave their company, what's in their mind, what's in their personality, how has it affected them, how has the business impacted them, and all that stuff. So it gets to a point where it's like, okay, the book can give you a certain connection, but there's no stronger connection than when you visually see it on the screen and you kind of live in the experiences that character is giving you on screen.
Mhm.
You know, it's much like when you get attached to a movie. So I again, great book, great read. I definitely would recommend it.
If you can just find the Spark Notes somewhere just to get the excerpts, definitely should.
But
And
it's just one of those that I think it would have been far better if they definitely had like a documentary be released, because I think you would have benefited a lot more. I mean, I think he's gonna have a benefit on this book, but I think his benefit would have been maximized with a Netflix documentary or something like that. Even a Hulu documentary, something stupid like that.
they do all that stuff now. It'll come at some point. It was interesting in the book itself. He didn't necessarily mention Rollins and Reigns too much. You know, you weren't sure if he was going to say certain things about the protocol they went through dealing with how Roman was the golden boy, even though when they got called up, they kind of had Ambrose front and center.
I mean,
stuff like
there was never an issue on that. It was clear right from the get go. Like even the character as like the Shield. Like
think about it though, because Ambrose won the U.S. title when he came up, and then Rollins and Reigns were the tag team guys.
Of course,
So like,
I mean, but again, it's more like again going back to the character of the Shield. Like Rollins had a special character there, and Roman had a special character there. The one tying it all up together was kind of Ambrose just kind of closing things in, right? So when you look at the bigger picture, like, Reigns is now a Universal Champion, whatever you want to call him, heavyweight champion, whatever you want to call him. Rollins is doing his thing, being a big, character development kind of guy there that is inspiring others and being a huge athletic guy. And Ambrose or Moxley is just kind of doing his own thing, just going about his days.
Yeah. Did you find what you were looking for?
Yep.
You all right?
Everything's good. Everything's good.
Okay. Any thoughts on the Moxley thing? We were just talking about Kevin Dunn, Vince McMahon's losing his mind. WWE was a living hell. My wife is awesome. My daughter's awesome. The Shield was pretty cool, and I love AEW.
Sorry to Renee Paquette for whatever got leaked. She had photos that got leaked to the public recently. So
Really?
sorry about her.
People I wish people would fuck off with that, dude. Like, just stay out of people's
Seriously.
shit. It's so stupid.
Other than that, I'm sure that both of you basically nailed it on the head there.
We did. We did a great job. You should have been there.
Should have been there. Yeah.
I was there in spirit. I had something just came up real quick, but we're here. All right. And I'm here to go ahead.
I was just gonna say, last thing for the Moxley Kingston stuff. I shouldn't say just Moxley and AEW. Him and Eddie Kingston seem to be treading back toward the heel territory.
Yep.
You had Kingston battle Daniel. I keep almost fucking doing it. Bryan Danielson on Rampage.
Daniel Bryanson.
Bryan Danielson. Great. He had a great match with Eddie Kingston. It wasn't anything technical. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just two dudes that legitimately looked like they wanted to beat the shit out of each other. So anytime you can make a wrestling match look legitimately like that, you're doing a good job. And then he kind of confronted CM Punk. Mox is over here beating the shit out of 10 and making him bleed and all these other things. So you might see those boys being heels now. And interesting to see what happens.
Well, we'll see him be heel when he beats Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy tweeted today, he has the graphic for their match. and it just says, come watch me get my ass kicked on Wednesday night.
Can't wait.
He
Be a fun
knows.
time.
He knows.
It'll be a fun time. All right. Any final thoughts before we end this episode of Suplex?
Yeah. We'll have more Survivor Series stuff once we finally figure out what the hell they're going to do. We know it's brand warfare. AEW's got Full Gear coming up. We know Hangman's set to do that. That's in 2 weeks, dude. I might streak on the podcast if he hits it and gets the win. I said might.
So as someone who has seen Hunterman naked, not by choice, it's not a pretty sight.
Was it fat Hunterman or was it like kind of shredded, strong Hunterman?
Both.
Oof.
Is this the reason the Teletubbies got canceled?
Oh, absolutely.
No, there was a murder Teletubby at the Halloween party.
She's canceled.
Yeah, she should be forever. But with that being said, from all of us here at Suplex Biddies, thank you to our sponsor, Shocked Energy. Thank you to our network, Couch Guy Sports. And make sure you check out the website. Use the internet. How many times, Hunterman?
Only once.
Only
But
once.
then also
Use the
more
internet.
because there's stuff that comes out like every hour. So like do it once, see how you like it, and then come back because you like it and you love it.
CouchGuySports.com. Thank you very much. We will see you guys next week for episode whatever number it
The
is.
next one.
32.
Then
30.
the one that comes after this one. Yeah.
Peace.